Christmas, the holiday everyone in America calls the safest time of the year. But that's just the surface. Every December 24th, after the Christmas lights go off, after families fall asleep, after the highways empty and towns go quiet, something ancient, something cold, and something older than Christmas itself wakes up. Every year, thousands of people go missing during the holiday week in the U.S. Most cases are blamed on snowstorms, accidents, bad weather. But the families who survived, they describe something else. Footsteps in the snow that don't belong to any human, a figure walking between Christmas trees after midnight, a knocking sound at the door even when no footprints are outside. Christmas Eve isn't just holy. It's a threshold, a moment when the world is thinner, and whatever waits on the other side steps through. Tonight you'll hear 3 true Christmas horror stories from the USA, stories buried under police reports, unsolved files and survivor statements nobody believes. But they're real. And if you're alone tonight listening to this, just make sure your door is locked. Story 1, The Snowman That Moved. True case file, Montana, 1990. The Harris family lived far outside Bozeman, Montana, deep in the valley where winters were brutal, and Christmas nights were completely silent. In 1998, when this happened, their nearest neighbor was 4 miles away, and the snow that year was so heavy it swallowed entire fences. On December 23rd, Jake Harris, age 12, built a snowman in the front yard. Not a cute one. Jake made it tall, almost 7 feet, wide shoulders, long stick arms reaching outward like it wanted to grab someone. His dad laughed. His mom joked it was creepy, but Jake was proud of it. That night, around 2:13 a.m., the family dog, Scout, began growling at the front window. Not barking, growling low in warning. Jake's father walked to the curtains and looked out. He froze. He blinked twice. He slowly leaned closer. The snowman was facing the house. Earlier it had been facing the road. He told himself the wind must have knocked it slightly. He didn't want to wake his wife with nonsense, so he closed the curtains and went back to sleep. By morning, the snowman looked normal again, facing the road. Arms down. Jake said, "Dad, I think you moved it. It wasn't like this last night." His father denied it. He had a weird feeling in his stomach, but he ignored it. Christmas Eve, 11:47 p.m. Snow was falling in thick waves, so heavy the world looked blurred. The family watched Home Alone, drank hot chocolate, laughed. Normal Christmas stuff. But Scout, the dog, kept staring at the front door. Not moving. Not blinking, just staring. At 12:03 a.m., something thumped against the house. Once, heavy, like someone dropping a large bag of flour on the wall. Jake's father checked the porch. Nothing, but when he looked out toward the yard, he saw it. The snowman was closer, at least 10 feet closer to the house. And now its arms were raised, pointing at the front door. He felt the cold punch his lungs. His breath fogged the window. He whispered, "Jake, you didn't move that, right?" Jake looked confused and whispered, "Dad, it's not smiling anymore." The snowman's face, 3 pieces of coal for a smile, was now a flat line, straight, expressionless. Jake's father closed the curtains, and this time, he locked the deadbolt. 1:31 a.m., the footsteps. Snow muffles everything, but this sound cut through the night like bones snapping. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Footsteps approaching the porch. Jake's mother whispered, "Someone's outside." The family moved slowly, quietly toward the window. Jake's father lifted the curtain a few centimeters. What he saw made him stumble backward. The snowman was now inches from the porch, standing right in front of the door. Its face was different again. The coal eyes weren't where they used to be. They were now angled downward, staring directly at the doorknob. And the mouth, the coal pieces had been pushed into a wide open O shape, like it was silently screaming. Jake whispered, "Dad." "Snowmen can't move." His father whispered back, "Go upstairs now." 1:49 a.m., scratching at the door. Something dragged along the wood. Slow, delicate testing pressure. It wasn't claws. It didn't sound like an animal. It sounded like twigs. Jake, trembling, whispered, "It's the arms." "Dad, it's the arms." A sudden shove hit the door. Hard. The entire frame shook. Jake's mother grabbed the phone. No signal. Lines were down from the storm. Another shove. The hinges moaned. Jake's dad yelled out, "Get in the back room." They ran. The final sound they heard before hiding was horrifying. A wooden knock. On the door. 3 slow times. As if the snowman wanted to be let in. 2:26 a.m. Silence. Snowfall. Nothing more. The dog stopped growling. The house felt dead still. Jake's father slowly approached the window again. He peeked. Then he exhaled, relieved. The snowman was gone. Just gone. He told the family to sleep in the back room together. He sat in a chair the entire night holding a fireplace poker. At sunrise, they walked outside. Jake screamed first. The snowman wasn't gone. It was behind the house. And in front of it, footprints, human-sized, leading right up to Jake's bedroom window, but none leading away, like the snowman had walked there and stayed, watching the window, all night long. The final December 26 discovery. When temperatures warmed 2 days later, the snowman melted. Inside the mound of snow, police found a children's mitten, strands of dark hair, and a rusted jawbone of a child missing since 1972. Jake's father moved the family to Billings within a week. The house is still there. And every winter, visitors report seeing a tall snowman shape frozen at the edge of the woods, watching the house, waiting for snow. Story 2. The Christmas Eve Visitor. True case, Maine, 2004. Maine winters are merciless. Blizzards thick as white walls, winds sharp enough to cut skin, and forests so dense they swallow entire sounds. But Christmas Eve 2004 was different. The locals in Millinocket still talk about it in low voices. Not because of the storm, but because of the visitor. This case comes from the only survivor, Ava Marsh, who was 17 at the time. Her written testimony was found in a sealed police file released years later. It matches 911 audio, footprints discovered at the house, and an unsolved missing persons report that still haunts the county. This is her full account. December 24th, 10:12 p.m. The power goes out. Ava lived with her mother, Susan, in a small cabin rental near Able Bridge. They were spending Christmas alone. Her dad was deployed in Iraq, and this was their first holiday without him. Around 10 p.m. during a growing snowstorm, the power blinked twice and died. The cabin fell into a thick, suffocating silence. Her mother lit 3 candles and said, "It's all right, honey. It's just the storm." But Ava felt something odd. The moment the power went out, the forest went quiet too. No wind, no cracking branches, no distant highway noise, just an unnatural stillness. 10:47 p.m., footsteps in the snow. Ava heard them first. Crunch, crunch, slow, heavy footsteps circling the cabin. Her mother said probably a moose. But Ava knew the difference. Moose wander. They don't circle. These footsteps paced in a slow, deliberate loop around the house. Measured. Human-like. When the steps stopped, the silence felt worse. Ava whispered, "Mom, it's right outside." Her mother shushed her, pretending not to be afraid. But then, knock, knock, knock. 3 slow, spaced-out knocks at the front door. And a man's voice spoke. "Cold night, isn't it?"
Can I come in?
Ava's chest tightened. The voice was wrong. It wasn't muffled by the door. It sounded like the man was standing inside the cabin, right behind them. Her mother whispered, "Don't speak. Don't respond." Another knock. Harder this time. "It's Christmas Eve. You should let visitors in." Her mother blew out the candles. Darkness swallowed them. 11:02 p.m., the window. The knocking stopped, but something moved to the left side of the house, then to the right. Fast, too fast. Shadows shifted through the snowy windows. A tall silhouette, long-armed, gliding from window to window as if deciding which one to break first. Ava whispered, "What does he want?" Her mother squeezed her hand so hard it hurt. Then, tap, 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 the silhouette leaned close to the living room window. A pale shape pressed against the glass. A face, but not a normal face. The eyes were wrong. Too wide, too reflective, like an animal in headlights. And the smile? It stretched too far, way beyond what skin should allow. Her mother clapped a hand over Ava's mouth so she wouldn't scream. The voice came again. "I saw your lights earlier. I saw you laughing. Families shouldn't be alone on Christmas." Something scraped the glass. A finger, dragging slowly. 11:19 p.m., the door opens. The cabin had a deadbolt, 2 locks, a heavy reinforced door, but they heard it. The click, the deadbolt unlocking from the outside. Ava's mother gasped. "He can't do that. He can't." The knob turned. The door creaked open an inch. Wind blew snow into the entryway, but no one entered. The door stayed half open as if inviting them. Then the man's voice whispered, "Ava." She froze. Her mother snapped, "He doesn't know your name. He doesn't know your name." But the voice continued, "Ava, I brought you something. A Christmas present. Just for you." Something slid across the floorboards. A small object stopped at their feet. Ava picked it up with trembling fingers. It was a Polaroid picture of Ava taken that night through the window while they were watching TV earlier. 11:41 p.m., the crawlspace. Her mother dragged her into the kitchen and opened the crawlspace hatch under the sink. It was narrow, dark, barely large enough for both of them. She whispered, "Don't make a sound until daylight." Ava nodded, tears streaming silently. They lowered themselves into the crawlspace, pulling the hatch closed. Dark, dust-filled, silent. For 5 minutes, nothing happened. Then, footsteps inside the house. Slow, deliberate, exploring. A low humming sound filled the cabin. Not human, not musical. More like a vibration through wood. Her mother covered her ears. The humming grew louder, and then he knelt beside the crawlspace. Ava heard the floorboards creak directly above them. The humming stopped. A long pause. Then the slow sound of nails or fingertips dragging across the crawlspace door. "Scrap! Scrap!" The man spoke softly. "I know you're hiding." Ava's mother squeezed her hand, praying he couldn't hear their breathing. Silence. Then he whispered through the wood, "See you when the lights come back." Footsteps. Slow. Leaving the cabin. The front door creaked shut. Only the sound of the storm remained. December 25th, 6:12 a.m., after sunrise. They climbed out cautiously. The cabin was ice cold. Snowdrifts inside. Furniture moved. Kitchen drawers open. But no footprints inside. Not one. Only on the porch. And the path leading to the tree line, where the footprints suddenly stopped. Mid-stride, like he vanished into thin air. Police arrived 2 hours later. They found no signs of forced entry, no fingerprints, no tire tracks nearby, and no explanation for the unlocked deadbolt. The officer, Lieutenant Dale Rowan, wrote one disturbing note in the report. Footprints outside were spaced 5 to 6 feet apart, too long for a human. Whatever made them was moving fast. Ava and her mother moved out of Maine within a month. But here's the part that still scares investigators. Every Christmas Eve, someone leaves a Polaroid on the porch of that old cabin. Always taken from outside a window. Always showing whoever is currently living there. The property has changed tenants 8 times. No one stays more than a year. Story 3, the town that skipped Christmas, a true case, Colorado, 1475. This is considered one of the most disturbing Christmas disappearances in U.S. folklore. The government denies it. Locals swear it happened. If you look up North Ashpine, Colorado, you won't find anything. Not on Google, not on maps, not in old census records, but old truckers along Highway 285 still whisper about a place buried in snow, a place erased on purpose. And the last surviving resident, your old Harold Brinley, recorded a confession on a cassette tape before he died in 2016. The tape was leaked. The audio is shaky, fading, but one part is crystal clear. We didn't stop celebrating Christmas. Christmas stopped us. This is the complete uncut account. December 22nd, 1975. Strange beginnings. North Ashpine was a tiny mountain town. Population 233. A quiet place with wooden houses, a small diner, a general store, and an obsession with Christmas. Every December, lights covered every pole, fence, and rooftop. Carols played nonstop. Kids sledded along Main Street. It was Colorado's most festive town until 1975. That year, for the first time, the town council canceled the Christmas festival. They didn't give a reason. People protested. Families complained. But the council refused to explain. At the December 22nd meeting, townspeople demanded answers. That's when Councilman Rupert Hayes whispered the first hint. "We can't risk another year." No one understood. No one except the oldest residents, who wouldn't speak at all. The sheriff tried to calm the crowd, saying, "It's for safety. Just stay home this Christmas." But nobody listened, and that's when the disappearances started. December 23rd, 6:12 a.m. The first vanishing. A young couple, Mark and Eliza Danner, were seen leaving their house, bundled in coats heading to the diner. The waiter saw them enter, but they never ordered food. They walked to a corner booth, sat down, and stared at the Christmas decorations on the ceiling. Then both of them stood up at the same time, walked outside, and headed straight toward the old pine forest behind the diner. A witness called out to them. They didn't respond, just kept walking, straight into the trees. They were never seen again. Their footprints led into the forest, and then stopped. Not faded, not snowed over, just stopped mid-step like they walked off an invisible cliff. December 23rd, 11:50 p.m. Lights in the woods. Multiple residents reported glowing shapes between the trees. White, slow-moving, tall. Sheriff's Deputy Jim Weller described them as not headlights, not lanterns, more like bodies, human-shaped lights. Kids saw them too. One child described light walking between the trees, leaving bright footprints in the snow that faded in seconds. The sheriff patrolled the forest perimeter but refused to step inside. Something was wrong. December 24th, 1:13 a.m. The singing starts. At 1:13 a.m., every house facing the forest heard it. Christmas carols, sung by a choir, deep in the woods, but the voices were wrong. Slow, echoing, off-key, like the singers didn't understand the melody. One survivor wrote, "Silent Night shouldn't sound like that. It sounded hungry." Lights began appearing between the trees, dozens of them. Moving closer, the sheriff ordered everyone inside, but a handful of people ignored him. They walked to the forest edge, listening, and then they stepped into the trees one by one. Like sleepwalkers drawn by the music, none returned. December 24th, 3:02 a.m. The visitor. "Harold Brinley's tape begins here," he said at 3:02 a.m. His dog began shaking violently, staring at the window. A figure stood outside, not glowing, not human, not solid. Its shape flickered like candlelight in the wind. Sometimes tall, sometimes hunched, sometimes thin, sometimes wide, but always watching. Harold said, "It didn't knock. It didn't speak. It waited. It pressed something against the window. A Christmas ornament. Red, glass, cracked, and Harold swore he heard voices inside the ornament, like whispers trapped in a tiny room." That's when he realized the missing townspeople weren't gone. They were in something, contained. December 24th, 4:15 a.m. The final attempt. The sheriff gathered the remaining townspeople in the church. Only 19 people were left alive. They barricaded the doors, lit every candle they had, and kneeled. The church organ began playing. Nobody was touching it. The notes were deep, dragging, wrong. The townspeople held hands, terrified. The sheriff yelled, "Do not open your eyes." Harold on the tape admits, "I opened mine." He saw the church windows glowing white, shaking, cracking. Shadows moved outside, tall silhouettes, shifting like smoke. Then something whispered in his ear, "You should have celebrated." The windows exploded inward. Snow blasted through. Lights filled the church like a swarm of fireflies. The townspeople screamed as they were lifted off the ground, silhouetted inside the white glow, their shapes shrinking, compressing, like something folding them into tiny spaces. Harold fainted. When he woke up, the church was empty. Everyone was gone. Only small glass ornaments lay scattered on the floor. Red ones, blue ones, green ones, each one faintly whispering. December 25th, Christmas morning. Harold stumbled outside. The entire town was silent. No wind, no people, no footprints. Just thin beams of white light drifting between houses like wandering souls. He saw one float toward the forest. And inside it, for just a second, he saw a tiny face pressed against the light, screaming silently. The sheriff's badge floated inside another beam. As the beams reached the tree line, they vanished like blown-out candles. Harold collapsed in the snow. He was the only survivor. What the government did. When authorities arrived days later, they found no ornaments, no bodies, no buildings, no town, just flat snow and empty land. North Ash Pine had been wiped clean, as if erased from time. The government declared it uninhabited wilderness. Maps were updated, records deleted, families given vague explanations. But truckers still swear. Every Christmas Eve between mile marker 212 and 214, you can see tiny glowing ornaments hovering in the trees. Inside each one, a face, eyes wide, mouth open, still trapped, still singing, still begging for help. Some towns celebrate Christmas, others survive it. But North Ash Pine will forever be part of it. If you felt the cold breath of these Christmas nights, imagine what still waits in the dark. Don't leave this channel unprotected. Hit subscribe to Rust and Relic, turn on the bell, and stay with us. The next true story might be closer to your home than Christmas morning.